The game on Friday was a very exciting one. I enjoyed it, although there were so many moments that I was, nervous about the outcome of things. We were cruising at 2-0. It was good to see Ekitike score the first goal and assist the second one. My word, Gakpo, once he cuts in on that right foot coming in from the left, you already know what you're going to get, right? It was amazing. It was glorious. I enjoyed every bit of it. But then came the second half when, things changed. I think it was the substitution from the manager, right? And yeah, I have to blame Arne Slot for that one. It seemed like we were going to press on and, get a route in where it seemed like we are going to beat the crap out of Bournemouth that day. But it was insane. He took off Kerkez and Frimpong. Frimpong, by the way, recorded the highest speed for any player in the Premier League for this season so far. Yeah, so he took off Kerkez, he took off Frimpong, and all of a sudden there were just gaps behind. Because, okay, fine, he brought in Robertson on the left, and he brought in Endo, which I think was a mistake, by the way. I understand wanting to shore up the defense and just make sure that, you lock things down. But then again, most teams that play Liverpool these days know that they need to rely heavily on the counter because we are, susceptible to counters, right? So he could have just chilled with Frimpong and then brought in my opinion, by the way, and then brought in Robertson on the left. But, the coach did what he did, and I'm sure he'll be careful with it next time. He'll be more careful with it. As soon as Endo was on that right, Endo could not cope. By defending as a low block and you put Endo at right back, very good. Endo is definitely going to turn up for you. But you can't play him as a fullback or a wing back when we're pushing higher up the pitch. So yeah, that was the issue there. Bournemouth saw that, they exploited it for the first goal. That was where the cross came in for for Semenyo to score his first goal. Semenyo, by the way, was immense. He was amazing in that game. All the pitch side drama aside, I mean, how many times are we going to say it? It's awful what has been happening with the racist comments and remarks, and we're always disappointed to hear that. Hopefully that doesn't happen again. Shout out to Semenyo, by the way. Good game from the guy. He was an absolute monster in that game. I read on Opta that he has recorded the longest run before a goal. So the longest solo run before a goal. That's taking the ball from anywhere from your own half to the opponent's goal mouth to score. That's amazing, man. He did really good. That was for the second goal, by the way. Yeah, the second goal, I've been seeing people criticizing Van Dijk for the goal. I think that was all Konate's fault, to be honest. There wasn't much Van Dijk could do. You should never, turn your back to the defender. You should never face the goal. Once you see that he's getting closer to the box, you do something about it. Hack him down or whatever. You're not going to get a red card. What's that's going to happen is you get a yellow card because you're not the last man, obviously. Van Dijk was definitely trying to close down the other guy on the left, on our left, on Van Dijk's right, and just trying to block, the passing lanes for the final pass. Everyone, including me, everyone thought, I think even Semenyo thought he was going to give a final pass up until that moment that he decided, you know what, I'll take the shot. So yeah, good play by him. Only top players have that kind of quick thinking and instinct to do what he did in that moment. So yes, it was a good goal. The defenders were definitely at fault, but yes, it is what it is. I'm glad we won that game because it would have been very depressing. Very sad to start the season with a draw in that manner or even a loss, God forbid. We came back with Chiesa getting a goal finally, a Premier League goal finally, and at Anfield at the cup end, for that matter. It was amazing. I enjoyed watching that from Chiesa. It was a good goal, well-taken goal. Most Liverpool fans will tell you they enjoy more so Mo Salah getting that last goal. It was befitting for him. It was ceremonial, for him to get a goal finally at the end of of the game. I mean, that was his annual first match day goal contribution. That is stuff of legends. I mean, you can't deny that. So yeah, Mo Salah, congratulations on continuing to prove that you're a Premier League legend. And yeah, amazing game, all in all. But moving forward, it was obvious for us that we need a linchpin in that midfield, right? Szoboszlai is not it. Szoboszlai should be playing between 8 and 10. He shouldn't be getting that deep. His energy is necessary for, tracking back and breaking down play. Yes, I absolutely adore him for that. But he should not be starting as a deep player. He shouldn't be starting that deep. We need Gravenberch to start in that role. If Gravenberch is not available, find a way to make Endo start. In my opinion, by the way, find a way to make Endo start in that role. You insist on playing Florian Wirtz in 10, which I think is the ideal thing to do. It makes sense for you to want to play your most prized asset in his favorite position, right? By all means, please go ahead, play Wirtz in 10, but Wirtz needs to realize that he has to adjust to the pace of the game. He's technically gifted, we can see that, but he was being bullied to a certain extent in the game, and yeah, I felt for him. It's just, it was more of a rude awakening, welcome to the Premier League kind of situation for him. Like, he couldn't get on the ball for too long. He will get pushed off it, he will get bullied off the ball. So I think he's going to adjust. I don't think that's the ideal midfield trio for us. Wirtz, McAllister, and Szoboszlai. I don't think that's the ideal midfield trio. Going into the season, I see the coach interchanging, between McAllister and Szoboszlai a lot. Wirtz is probably going to retain his place ahead of them on the pitch. Yeah, what he does is going to depend on the game or the circumstance we find ourselves in. Yeah, I think it's going to be an awesome season for the midfield, But Gravenberch, thankfully his suspension is over. Is going to be back next game for the Newcastle game, which I think is going to be an interesting game, by the way, because all the Newcastle fans on X, Twitter, have been saying how it's going to be a sangre por sangre kind of game. That's blood for blood, and they are going to be very aggressive towards us, to say the least, all because of the Isak saga. Yeah, I mean, they gotta do what they gotta do. But at the end of the day, Newcastle is not Liverpool. Newcastle is nowhere near Liverpool, right? All the best to them. Yeah, I've said too much about that game already. I don't really need to talk much about Ekitike because at this point, it's beginning to feel like an Ekitike channel, right? So I don't want to talk much about it, but I have to say I was right. I made a video saying that you should get him for your fantasy league, put him as one of your strikers. Someone triple captained him. I saw what return he gave, man. I mean, a goal and an assist, played over 60 minutes in the game. That guy is going to, I don't even need to say much. Ekitike, yes, for sure, it's a good buy. Again, I maintain that if we don't get Isak, there is no issue whatsoever. Ekitike is good. I don't know. It'll be nice to see Isak come after all the saga, but if he doesn't, no problem whatsoever, man. We're good. We're good to go, right? Yeah, it was touching to see Mo Salah pay tributes alongside with the fans to Diogo Jota at the end of the game. Yeah, we're all emotional about it. It was a very touching moment. Good to see that everyone still stands together for in moments like this. And yeah, rest in peace, Diogo Jota.